Hi. Hello. You're catching me right after day 11. We're doing this in a really interesting order today. But I am going to do day 15 because day 15 is the final machine that we actually cannot perform. So I'm going to take us through it anyway because it's an Active Directory thing, which is very important. I'm pretty sure it's going to be inaccessible. But hey, maybe I'll be disappointed. Well, maybe I'll be surprised. I very much doubt it though. Day 15. Active Directory. Without further ado, this is the third one I'm recording today, so please excuse me for not having a super long intro. I just want to get into it and go back to my life. Alright, here we go. Music off, let's go. Active Directory Day 15. Be it ever so heinous, there's no place like domain controller. Last year, I think these were like references to things. These, it just seems like complete random bullshit, honestly. Anyway. The story. Ahead of SOCMAS, the team decided to do a routine security check of one of their Active Directory domain controllers. Upon some quick auditing, the team noticed something was off. Could it be? The domain controller has been breached? With sweat on their brows, the SOC team smashed the glass and hit the panic alarm. There's only one person who can save us. Learning objectives. Learn about the structures of Active Directory. Learn about common Active Directory attacks. Investigate a breach against an Active Directory. No. Connecting to the machine. Before moving forward, review the questions in the connection card shown below. Banner showing the connection details for this room. That is a completely helpless, completely pointless, not helpful, get out of here, Active Directory, alt text. Terrible. Click the green Start Machine button below to start the virtual machine in split view. The VM should be fully loaded in 2 minutes. So I'm not even going to bother, honestly. If the VM is not visible, use the blue Show Split View button at the top of this page. The credentials to connect to the machine directly using RDP have been provided below. Remember, you will need to be connected to the TryHackMe VPN to do so. Again, we don't have audio on these machines, so there's literally no point for me doing this. Well, if you do want to do this, the credentials are whereville in caps /administrator with a capital A, with the password AOC in caps investigations ! With a capital I. IP address machine IP, which is not currently running. Introducing Active Directory. Before diving into Active Directory, let's understand the network infrastructures can be mapped out and ensure that access to resources is well managed. This is typically done through directory services, which map and provide access to network resources within an organization. The Lightweight Directory Access Protocol, LDAP, forms the core of directory services. This provides a mechanism for accessing and managing directory data to ensure that searching for and retrieving information about subjects and objects such as users, computers, and groups is quick. Active Directory AD is, therefore, a directory service at the heart at most enterprise networks that store informations about objects and networks. In the network, the associated objects can include list, users, individual accounts representing people or services, groups, collections of users or other objects, often with specific permissions, computers, machines that belong to the domain governed by AD policies, printers and other resources, network accessible devices or services. The building blocks of an AD architecture include domains, logical groupings of network resources such as users, computers, and services. They serve as the main boundary for AD administration and can be identified by their domain component and domain controller name. Everything inside a domain is subject to the same security policies and permissions. Organizational units, or OUs, OUs are containers within a domain that help group objects based on departments, locations, or functions for easier management. Administrators can apply group policy settings to specific OUs, allowing more granular control of security settings or access permissions. Forest, a collection of one or more domains that share a standard schema, configuration, and global catalog. The forest is the top level container in AD. Trust relationships. Domains within a forest and across forests can establish trust relationships that allow users in one domain to access resources in another domain, subject to permissions. Okay? Combining all these components allows us to establish the distinguished name DN that an object belongs to within the AD. The structure of the name would be as follows. DN equals CN equals mayor malware, OU equals management, DC equals Wareville, DC equals THM. Core Active Directory components. Active Directory contains several key components that allow it to provide a wide range of services. Understanding these components will give one a clear picture of how AD supports administrative and security operations. 1. Domain controllers, DC. Domain controllers are the servers that host Active Directory services. They store the AD database that handle authentication and authorization requests such as logging in users or verifying access to resources. Multiple DCs can exist within a domain for redundancy. When changes are made to AD, such as adding users or updating passwords, these changes are replicated across all DCs, ensuring that the directory remains consistent. Global Catalog. The Global Catalog, GC, is a searchable database within AD that contains a subset of information from all objects in the directory. This allows users and services to locate objects in any domain in the forest, even if those objects reside in different domains. In the forest sounds so... We needed a name, we couldn't think of one. LDAP, Lightweight Directory Access Protocol. AD uses this protocol to query and modify the directory. The protocol allows for fast searching and retrieving of information about objects such as users, computers, and groups. Kerberos authentication. The default authentication protocol used by AD provides secure authentication by using tickets rather than passwords. Group policy. One of Active Directory's most powerful features is a group policy, which allows administrators to enforce policies across the domain. Group policies can be applied to users and computers to enforce password policies, software deployment, firewall settings, and more. Group policy objects, GPOs, are the containers that hold these policies. A GPO can be linked to the entire domain, an OU, or a site. We haven't learned what sites are, giving the flexibility in applying policies. Let us say that McSkitty wants to ensure that all users within Wareville's SOC follow a strict password policy enforcing minimum password lengths and complexity rules. Here is how it would be done. Using the run window, open group policy edit management from your server by typing gpmc.msc. Right-click your domain and select Create a GPO in this domain and link it here. Name the new GPO password policy. 3. Edit the GPO by editing to Computer Configuration, arrow, Policies, arrow, Windows Settings, arrow, Security Settings, arrow, Account Policies, arrow, Password Policy. 4. Configure the following settings. Minimum password length, 12 characters. Enforce password history, 10 passwords. Maximum password age, 90 days. Password must meet complexity requirements enabled. So, a couple of days ago, we did the WebSockets thing, the WebSockets day, where it just said, hey, have these settings on, and it made a screenshot. This is obviously the better way to do that, so people can actually verify they have the right settings on. It's also helpful for if you need to translate for whatever reason. So Good job here for listing the settings out. Thank you. 5. Click OK, then link this GPO to the domain or specific OUs you want to target. Cool. This policy will now be applied across the domain, ensuring all users meet these password requirements. Graphic with the alt text creating and editing GPO settings for password policy. I'll allow it. Common Active Directory attacks. Adversaries are always looking for ways to breach and exploit Active Directory environments to destabilize and cause havoc to organizations. Working with Glitch to secure SOCMUS or SOCMUS require us to know common attacks and their mitigation measures. Graphic with the alt text golden tickets representation. Golden ticket attack. A golden ticket attack allows attackers to exploit the Kerberos protocol and impersonate any account on the AD by forging a ticket granting ticket TGT. By compromising the KRBTGT account and using its password hash, the attackers gain complete control over the domain for as long as the forged ticket remains valid. The attack requires 4 critical pieces of information to be successful. Fully qualified domain name, FQDN, of the domain, SID of the domain, username of an account to impersonate, and KRBTGT account password hash. Detection for this type of attack involves monitoring for unusual activity involving the KRBTGT. Event ID 4768. Look for TGT requests for high privileged accounts. Event ID 4672. This logs when special privileges such as set CB privilege are assigned to a user. Pass the hash. This type of attack steals the hash of a password and can be used to authenticate to services without needing the actual password. This is possible because the NTLM protocol allows authentication based on password hashes. Key ways to mitigate this attack are enforcing strong password policies, conducting regular audits on account privileges, and implementing multi-factor authentication across the domain. Kerber roasting. Kerber roasting is an attack targeting Kerberos in which the attacker requests service tickets for accounts with service principal names, SPNs, extract the tickets and password hashes, and then attempts to crack them offline to retrieve the plain text password. Again, suddenly we have like done half of the this is Active Directory, and now we're tossing a whole bunch of extra terms in the mix just so we can make our attacks explanations work. If you realize halfway through a room that you don't have enough explanation to make a beginner do the room, please just don't do the task and do something else. Oh, it feels really sort of just toss stuff at the wall and see what sticks this year. I don't know. Mitigation for this type of attack involves ensuring that service accounts are secured with strong passwords, and therefore implementing security policies across AD would be the defense. Pass the ticket. In a pass the ticket attack, attackers steal Kerberos tickets from a compromised machine and use them to authenticate as the user or service whose ticket was stolen. This attack can be detected through monitoring for suspicious logins using event ID 4768 TGT request, especially if a user is logging in from unusual locations or devices. Additionally, event ID 4624 successful login will reveal tickets being used for authentication. Malicious GPOs. Adversaries are known to abuse group policies to create persistent, privileged access accounts and distribute and execute malware by setting up policies that mimic software deployment across entire domains. With escalated privileges across the domain, attackers can create GPOs to accomplish goals at scale, including disabling core security software and features such as firewalls, antivirus, security updates, and logging. Additionally, scheduled tasks can be created to execute malicious scripts or exfiltration data from affected devices across the domain. To mitigate against the exploitation of group policy, GPOs need to be regularly audited for unauthorized changes. Strict permissions and procedures for GPO modifications should also be enforced. Skeleton key attack. In a skeleton key attack, attackers install a malware backdoor to log into any account using a master password. The legitimate password for each account would remain unchanged, but attackers can bypass it using the skeleton key password. Okay, well, that was an info dump that we probably didn't need. Thank you, though. Investigating an Active Directory breach. Group policy. As previously discussed in this task, group policy is a means to distribute configurations and policies to enrolled devices in the domain. For attackers, group policy is a lucrative means of spreading malicious scripts to multiple devices. Reviewing group policy objects, GPOs, is a great investigation step. In this section, we will use PowerShell to audit our GPOs. First, we can use the get GPO cmdlet commandlets to list all GPOs installed on the domain controller. The command would be get GPO-all. And we get a list of GPOs. A bunch of stuff here. Display name, we got default domain controller, policy, all the things. Domain name, ATM, all the things. Okay. Just gonna
speech mode talk.
Sift through this.
Modification user for computer virtual my filter. Display name, set wallpaper, GPO, domain owner, Whereville, id, Go status, all settings and id, D600 owner, Whereville, domain admins, id, Ghost description, set the wallpaper of every domain joined machine. Creation time, 10 modify user version,
So this will
AD
set,
version,
all
0.
the domain.
Computer version, AD,
wallpapers.
my filter. This would allow us to look for out of place, speech mode off.
This would allow us to look for out-of-place GPOs. We can export a GPO to an HTML file for further investigation to make it easier to see what configurations the policy enforces. For this example, we will export the set wallpaper GPO. Please note that this is a demonstration GPO and isn't present on the practical machine for today's task, because that would be too easy. So to export it, you do get GPO report dash name set wallpaper dash report type HTML dash path set wallpaper HTML, just wherever you want. In this case, they do / set wallpaper.html. Then, when opening the HTML file in the browser, we are presented with an overview of things such as when the policy was created and modified, what devices or users the GPO applies to, the permissions over GPO, the user or computer configurations that it enforces. We have an alt text with the graphic with the alt text set wallpaper GPO in an HTML report for easier analysis. From the screenshot above, we can see that the policy sets the desktop wallpaper of devices using the image located in thm.jpg on the domain controller. Domains are naturally likely to have many GPOs. We can use the same getGPO commandlet with a bit of PowerShell foo to list only those GPOs that were recently modified. This is a handy snippet because it highlights policies that were recently modified, perhaps by an attacker. So I would totally run this, but I can't. Like you could technically do this using OCR. You can absolutely run these commands, but it would be a pain to sift through like large amounts of data, which this kind of needs you to do. And even opening HTML files on the attack machine wouldn't be on the VM wouldn't be a good idea. So it's like, no, it's just no point. When they finally fix the audio on these machines, absolutely, you could do this with 2 fingers in your nose, as it were, but not like this, not right now. Event Viewer. Windows comes packaged with the Event Viewer. This invaluable repository stores a record of system activity, including security events, service behaviors, and so forth. For example, within the security tab of Event Viewer, we can see the history of user logins, attempts, and logoffs. The screenshot below shows a record of the user cmnetic attempting to log into the device. I wonder if the user cmnetic made this room. It's a good room so far. I think at some point you derailed a little bit and used terms that people may not have heard of, but on the whole, not bad. Records of a user logging in shown on the event viewer. Yeah, I mean that's as good as you're gonna get at this point. Like there's so much information on that image that I don't think you could really specify without giving the game away. So yeah, good alt text, I'll take it. All categories of events are given an event ID. The table below provides notable event IDs for today's task. Okay. 4624. A user account has logged on. 4624. We already read that one. 4625. A user account failed to log on. 4672. Special privileges, i.e. set CP privileges, have been assigned to a user. 4768. A TGT, Kerberos, ticket was requested for a high privileged account. That's it. Okay. User auditing. User accounts are a valuable and often successful method of attack. You can use event viewer IDs to review user events and PowerShell to audit their status. Attack methods such as password spraying will eventually result in user accounts being locked out, depending on the domain controller's lockout policy. To view all locked accounts, you can use the search ADA command, search AD account commandlet, applying some filters to show information, such as the last time the user had successfully logged in. In this case, it's search AD account dash locked out bar select dash object name comma SAM account name comma locked out comma last logon date comma distinguished name. Additionally, a great way to quickly review the user accounts present on the domain, as well as their group membership, is by using the getAdUser commandlet demonstrated below. That command would be getAdUser dash filter slash, that's a star actually.
Speech star space dash space star space r space speech mode off.
The dash filter star or asterisk dash properties member of bar select dash object name SAM account name. Really?
Add left brace.
Add left brace name equals quote groups quote semicolon expression equals left brace $ underscore dot member of right brace. And then we get a table of various names in this list. We have administrator, CN equals domain, we have CN equals schema, and so forth and so forth. Guest, KRB, TGT, DC, whatever, a whole bunch of things that we have a David, we have a Jake, we have a try hack me, all sorts of cool stuff. I don't think we can really do much with these. And there's a cmnetic. How fun. Reviewing PowerShell history and logs. PowerShell, like Bash on Linux, keeps a history of the commands inputted to the session. Reviewing these can be a fantastic way to see recent actions taken by the user account on the machine. On a Windows server, this history file is located at it's appdata // Microsoft Windows PowerShell PS readline console host underscore history.txt. Cool. Graphic alt text location of the PowerShell history file on the system. So yeah, it shows the same thing. You can use the inbuilt notepad on Windows or your favorite text editor to review the PowerShell command history. Alt text that says contents of the PowerShell command logs. Okay. Additionally, logs are recorded for every PowerShell process executed on a system. These logs are located within the event viewer under application and services logs, arrow, Microsoft arrow, Windows arrow, PowerShell arrow, operational, or also under application and service logs, arrow, Windows, PowerShell. The logs have a wealth of information useful for incident response. Alt text, event viewer showing PowerShell logs recorded. Practical, which we cannot do. Your task for today is to investigate Wareville's SOCMOS Active Directory controller for the suspected breach. Answer the questions below to confirm the details of the breach. Now, at this point, we're going to have to find a write-up. Use the security tab within Event Viewer to answer questions 1 and 2. Okay. On what day was glitch_malware last logged in? I don't know. Let's find out by grabbing a thing, because there's not really a way for us to find this out currently, because the audio on the machine doesn't work. So this, whoa.
Speech mode beeps. Speech mode top. No next 4 hours of Widzen. Hours acceptor. Google. Clickable search and Google
This is an incognito window anyway. Let's go. No
search
we'll
and
type,
combo box collapsed at AOC space Z2 space A space 1 space RTUV. Act 20. No main landmark. Advent of.
I was pressing H a bunch to get down quickly. It takes forever.
Link medium. Link heading level.
Let's see if we can see these even, because sometimes apparently we put them behind paywalls now. I guess that's the way to maybe not get found out. Very clever. On what day?
Heading level 2-1. On what day list with 2 items 1. Use the secure speech mode off.
Let's see. Can we see what the answer is? Yes. 07/11/2024. 07/11/2024. That is the correct answer. Very nice. What event ID shows the login of the glitch malware user? Now this we can find out. That should be 4624. Is that the right one? It is. Very nice. Read the PowerShell history of the administrator account. What was the command that was used to enumerate Active Directory users? Now this you could probably also do if you know this command. I unfortunately do not. But the command is apparently get AD user -filter star -properties member of select object name. So it's almost what we saw before in the explanation, but with only one parameter, just the names, which is this one. So it's get capital G -AD user with capital A, capital D, capital U for user -filter with a capital F star -properties with a capital P member of with capital M and O bar select capital S -object capital O name with a capital N. That was it. Look in the PowerShell log file located in application and services logs arrow Windows PowerShell. What was glitch_malware's set password? We have to go look because we cannot read that file. The password is a patentless super secret password with an @ for the A, a 0 for the O, and an exclamation point at the end, with the S, S, and P capitalized. Review the group policy objects present on the machine. What is the name of the installed GPO? Malicious GPO -glitch_malware persistence. So it's malicious space GPO in all caps. Malicious just capital M. Space -space glitch_malware with capital G, capital M, space persistence with a capital P. If you enjoyed this task, feel free to check out the Active Directory hardening room. We'll not be doing that, but we will be completing this room. This has been day 15 of Advent of Cyber. We were fortunately once again unable to actually do the practical ourselves, but we learned a bunch, so hey. It's not all bad, I guess. Enjoy this infinite mirror effect while I leave you for the day. Bye-bye.